Hello students. In my last class, I started the topic gradation from chapter 3 Earth movements and major landforms. I had little bit explained you about what is gradation. Today I will in detail explain you what is gradation and how landforms are made by rivers, glaciers, wind and waves. Okay, so first we will understand what is gradation. So, as I told you, the forces of nature act upon the major landforms, continuously modifying them so that the differences in their heights are reduced, and thus the earth's surface is gradually leveled. And this leveling of the earth's surface by natural process is called gradation. And which are the forces responsible for the process of gradation? These are the external forces such as running water, moving ice, or what we call glaciers, wind and sea waves. So these are the agents of gradation. Why they are called the agents of gradation? Because they are the external forces responsible for the leveling of the earth's surface. Okay, and they are responsible for the weathering and erosion. Okay, now we'll learn these two terms, weathering and erosion, as we move ahead. So you now know what are agents of gradation. Agents of gradation which help in the gradation process. And gradation, I told you, is the leveling of the earth's surface by natural process or by the agents of gradation like running water, moving ice, wind and sea waves. Gradation involves both degradation and aggradation. So these are two terms, degradation and aggradation. The process of degradation or denudation is the wearing down of the highlands, while the process of aggradation is the deposition of the broken rock fragments in low-lying areas. So gradation involves both degradation and aggradation. And what is degradation? Degradation is the wearing down. Degrade means wearing down of the highlands, and aggradation is the deposition of this broken rock fragments. When the highlands are wearing down and the sediments are getting deposited, then this deposition of the broken rock in the low lying areas, the process is called aggradation. Degradation can be of two types, weathering and erosion. The process of breaking down or decomposition of rocks in their place of origin is called weathering. Now what is weathering? So again you get two terms, weathering and erosion, which is a part of degradation. So when the degradation process is taking place, as I told you, wearing down, degradation means wearing down, then these two processes like weathering and erosion is taking place. Now what is weathering and what is erosion? We have to know now. The process of breaking down or decomposition of rocks in their place of origin is called weathering. So weathering is actually the breaking down of rocks. So because of the agents of gradation, the breaking down of the rocks is called weathering. The process of wearing down of rocks by the agents of gradation and transportation of the eroded material to be deposited elsewhere is called erosion. So erosion involves both breaking down of the rocks and even the transportation of the deposited eroded material. Okay. So there is one difference between weathering and erosion. Weathering, what happens in weathering, the eroded materials stays where it is. So no transportation is taking place in weathering, in the process of weathering. But in the process of erosion, what is happening? The eroded materials are moving away. Okay. So the eroded materials are moving away to be deposited somewhere else. So this is the actual difference between weathering and erosion. So both are actually both are the process of degradation. Degradation means wearing away, wearing down of the highlands, but there is one little difference between weathering and erosion, is that weathering, in the process of weathering, what happens, the eroded material are staying where it is, no transportation is taking place. But in erosion, the eroded materials are moved away or are being transported, okay, and are then deposited somewhere else. Now we will learn about the various landforms produced by the agents of gradation. So agents of gradation, you should always keep in your mind that these agents of gradation are running water, moving ice, wind and sea waves. So these four are the agents of gradation. Now we will learn, with the help of these four agents of gradation, what type of landforms are being formed. So now first we'll move to running water, that can be called river. Okay. Here in the key term you can see the degradation and aggradation definition is given. The wearing down of the land surface, and aggradation is the deposition of eroded material on a certain place to form a new landform. Okay. So definitely when the deposition is taking place and the eroded material and the sediments are getting deposited at a place, definitely a new landform will be created, right? When the deposition is taking for a long time, definitely a new landform will be formed in that place. Now we'll move to landforms made by rivers. Rivers are the most important agents of gradation. So we know these are the agents of gradation. The valley formed by a river is narrow and shaped like the letter V, hence it is called V-shaped valley. Okay, so V-shaped valley is of the shape of letter V and formed by erosion from a river or a stream over a time. So V-shaped valley is formed by a river, and what happens, erosion from the river or a stream and over a long time, means the river is moving from that place for a long time, and the erosion is taking place because of the movement of the water, then the V-shaped valley is formed. So it is formed by a river and it is of the shape of V, and it is formed by erosion from a river or a stream over a long time. It is not formed on a day, but over a long period of time it is formed. So V-shaped valley is done. Now next, when a river erodes vertically through hard rocks and the valley formed is very deep and narrow, such a valley is called a gorge, and hence since it is shaped like a letter I, it is called a I-shaped valley. Now we will know what is I-shaped valley. So now we know that what is V-shaped valley. Now we will know I-shaped valleys. So what happens, valleys are generally of U-shaped or V-shaped, okay, which is formed due to the weathering factor like strong winds or heavy rain. But in some cases what happened, there are valleys which are formed where the sides of the valleys are almost parallel to each other. So you can think that because of the erosion process, what happens with the weathering process, because of the weathering process, or because of the agents of gradation, that is river, what happens, some valleys are formed where the sides of the valley are almost parallel to each other. So these valleys will be the sides of the valleys are parallel to each other. What happens then, it forms a shape of an I. You think the letter I, where you see if the sides of the valley are parallel to each other, then it forms a shape of an I, and that's why it's called I-shaped valley. So when you think the letter I, you will see there's two parallel lines. So same way, the sides of the valley, because of the strong winds or heavy rain and because of the weathering, what happens, these valleys are formed, and the sides of the valleys form they are parallel to each other, and that's why what happens, the shape becomes like the letter I, and that's why it's called an I-shaped valley. So this is I-shaped valley. Now I will tell you about gorge. What is gorge? Gorge is a narrow valley with steep rocky walls located between hills or mountain, and it comes from a French word which means it is actually, what happens, the gorge is actually a French word, okay. So it is a French word and it means a throat or a neck. So in French, the word George means a throat or a neck. Okay. So and it is what is a gorge? When you know, gorge is a narrow valley. Okay, and it is steep rocky walls between hills, and it is located between hills or mountains, and it is like it means, the word itself means that a throat or a neck, and thus gorge is found. So gorge is actually, and then you will again get a word as canyon. Okay, so now you will think gorge and canyon. Canyon, when we read in the book, it's written a wider steep world and usually flat bottomed valley is called a canyon. Okay, so now canyon, you know, is actually is a wider stepped wall and flat bottomed valley. The canyon is a flat bottomed valley. Now you will think that what is the difference between gorge and canyon? Actually, both gorge and canyon are deep narrow valley with a stream or river running along their bottom. Okay, so both gorge and canyon, it's a deep narrow valley and a river or a stream is running along the bottom. But the difference only is that gorge is smaller than canyon. Okay, the size of gorge is smaller than a canyon and it is narrower than canyon. So two differences we get between gorge and canyon is that gorge is smaller than a canyon and it is narrower. It is narrower than the canyon. Means canyon is more wider than gorge, and canyon is deep narrow valley with steep cliffs on both sides. So both the factors are same. So for both the canyon and the gorge, that they are both deep valley, they are both deep and they have steep walls. Okay, but canyon is deep narrow valley with steep cliffs on both sides. And on the other hand, gorge is a narrow valley with steep rocky walls and it is located between hills or mountains. So, and the difference I already told you, that gorge is smaller than a canyon and it is narrower than the canyon. So this is the difference between gorge and canyon. And canyon, as I told you, gorge comes from a French word which means throat or neck, and canyon comes from the Spanish word canon, which means a tube or a pipe. So from the origin of the word only, you can make out that canyon comes from the Spanish word canon, which means a tube or a pipe. So the meaning of canyon is a tube or a pipe, and the meaning of gorge is a throat or a neck. Understood? So this is what, and you can, in the Google, you can Google and just see the shapes of all these V-shaped valley, I-shaped valley, gorge, canyon, all these shapes you can just have a look. So the idea can, you can have a better idea of about the shapes and types of these landforms or whatever you say. That so you will have a better idea when you see it. You just see the images in the Google. Okay, and you can what I said, an example, if you are asked an example of gorge, then it is in this river forms a gorge. In this river forms a gorge in Ladakh of Jammu and Kashmir. So in Jammu and Kashmir you can find a gorge that is formed by the Indus river. Okay, and okay, so now we will move to the next part, that is, okay, when a river flows down a steep valley side or erodes the underlying soft rocks faster than the hard rocks lying above, there is an abrupt drop in its slope and it plunges down from a great height, forming waterfall. So waterfall we all know, and we all have almost seen waterfall. So you already know that waterfall is always the water is falling from a great height. Okay, so it flows down a steep valley, and what happens, it is fast, it falls from a great height, plunges down from a great height. So that is waterfall. Waterfall, almost we all have an idea, we have seen waterfalls. And do you know which is the highest waterfall in India? It's the Kunchikal falls in Shimoga. Okay, so this is the highest waterfall in India and second largest in Asia. And do you know which is the largest waterfall in the world? The largest waterfall in the world is Angel Falls it's located in Venezuela. Okay, so these are the extra information I gave you. Now we'll move to the next page. Now, when a river enters the plain, it flows slowly, forming broad sweeping curves or loops called meanders. So you get a new term, meanders. Now, what is meander? Actually, a meander is a bend in a river. So you can see the picture in your book. So you can see a bend, right? It's a bend. So meander is a bend in a river channel, and it is formed when water in the river erodes the bank on the outside of the channel. So the water is eroding, the water in the river is eroding the bank, and meander is being formed, and it is actually a bend in the river channel. The water deposits sediments on the inside of the channel, and it occurs in flat land where the river is large. It is the result of erosional and depositional process. So erosion and deposition is taking place at the same time, and meanders are formed. So actually meander, you can say that it is bend in a river channel, and water is eroding, continuously eroding, the water of the river is continuously eroding the banks on the outside of the channel, and the water is again depositing the sediments as the erosion process is taking place. So deposition is also taking place, deposition of sediments on the inside of the channel, and so this results in the formation of meander. Due to continuous erosion and deposition, the meander becomes wider and the ends of the loop become closer. Eventually, the meander gets separated from the river, forming a cut-off lake which is called the Oxbow Lake. So, as I told you that the continuous movement of the water of the river leads to the erosion and deposition, and what happens at the meander becomes wide and the loops become closer. Because of that, what happens, it gets separated from the river. The bend of the river gets separated from the river, and it forms a lake, that is Oxbow Lake. In the picture you can see, so the Oxbow Lake can be defined as the is formation after a long period of time. So the Oxbow Lake is formed after a long period of time because of the, as you know, the erosion process and the weathering process takes a lot of time. So continuously the river is moving, and then the erosion is taking place and the deposition is taking place. So the Oxbow Lake is getting separated. What happens, the ends of the loop come closer, no? So it takes time, and suddenly what happens, it gets separated. The meander gets separated from the river, and as because of the shape, it becomes a lake, and it is called the Oxbow Lake. So Oxbow Lake is formed after a long period of time. The river creates the meander by erosion of the water, and it makes the river take a curved shape like a C. So you can see in the picture that the shape of the Oxbow Lake is of the shape C, and after a long period of time, meander becomes very curved, and eventually the neck of the meanders becomes very curved and narrower, and the river cuts through the neck during a flood. So what happens when it becomes very narrower, after continuous erosion and the movement of the water, what happens, long period of meander becomes very curved, and the neck of the meander becomes very curved and narrower, and the river cuts through the neck during a flood. Okay, so it gets cut off. It gets cut off from the meander. It gets cut off actually, and it forms a separate lake. Okay, and it is the Oxbow Lake, and the shape is like a C. Okay, it's curved shape, and the shape is like a C. Now, the river overflows its bank, flooding the surrounding area. Fine silt called alluvium is deposited on the banks of the river, forming a fertile food plain. The raised river banks are called natural levees. So what happens, we know that silt is very important for, like the soil which has silt is very good for growing crops, right? So the river is overflowing its banks, and what happens, silt is deposited on the banks of the river, and that becomes very fertile because of the presence of silt. What happens, the land becomes the very fertile, and if you can grow different types of crops on that land, and it's good for growing crops. Raised river banks are called natural levees. As the river moves towards the sea, it becomes very slow and splits into several small channels called distributaries. All the sediments carried, so you know that river is, when the river is moving towards the sea, and it splits into several small channels, it splits into different distributaries, okay, it splits into different branches, okay, and it is called distributaries, and all the sediments carried by the river and its channel are deposited at the mouths. The triangular shaped region near the mouth of the river with a network of distributaries is called deltas, okay, and the Ganga Brahmaputra delta is the biggest delta in the world. So you have already read about delta in your previous classes. So delta is actually the triangular shaped region near the mouth of the river, and it has a network of distributaries of the river, and so this is delta. And you know which is the biggest delta in the world? That is the Ganga Brahmaputra delta is the biggest delta in the world. So we know that the biggest delta in the world is the Ganga Brahmaputra delta. Now we will read about landforms made by glaciers. So glaciers, we already know, are slow moving masses of snow and ice. They are also known as rivers of ice. They are found in the polar snowfields and in the ice-capped mountains. So we already have an idea about glaciers. They are actually moving masses of snow and ice, and you don't think that will be a very small in shape and size. They are very huge masses of snow and ice. Like rivers, glaciers also break and carry away rock materials. The valley formed by a glacier has steep sides and a flat bottom. It resembles the letter U. Such a valley is called U-shaped valley. So we have already read about U-shaped and V-shaped valley, and we already know the feature that U-shaped valley will have. Actually, it will have steep sides and flat bottom. So valley, we already know, when you look at the letter U, already have an idea that when the valley is formed of U-shaped, then what happens? The sides will be steep and the bottom will be flat. And glaciers also carve out shallow armchair shaped basins in the mountains called kirks and corries. Okay, so these are also kirks and corries are also formed by the glaciers, and this is a shallow armchair shaped basins. Okay, so these are very shallow basins in the mountains. When the ice melts, these get filled up with water, forming lakes. So these shallow basins, what happens in the mountains when the ice is melting, because when the temperature rises and the ice melts, they get filled up with water and then they form lakes. When a glacier descends a valley, it melts because of the warmer climate. Its load, consisting of clay, sand, gravel, and boulders, cannot be carried any longer and is eventually dropped. These deposits are called moraines. So you learn a new term, moraines. So moraines, what is moraines? Moraines is the material left behind by a moving glacier. So you remember this as as moraines are the materials left behind by a moving glacier, and the material is usually soil or rock. So the material is actually, these are deposits. No, moraines are deposits. So deposits are formed, you know, already know deposits are formed by moving river, or now we are learning about glaciers. So it is actually the deposits or the materials left behind by a moving glacier, and the material is usually soil or rock. So what moraines consist of? It consists of soil and rock. Glaciers transport all sorts of dirt and boulders that build up to form moraines, just as rivers. So, glaciers also work in the same way as rivers are working, and they also deposit this dirt, soil and rock. So when the glaciers are melting because of the temperature, okay, so when the glaciers are melting because of the warmer climate, or when the temperature is when it's warmer, and because of the temperature, when it's getting the heat, it is melting, and thus these glaciers are formed. And because of this, and glaciers are already formed, and we know that they are deposited and they are called moraines. Okay, so